Times are tough right now.
And we've still got a long road ahead.
But if we all buckle in,
put our pedals to the metal,
and do our part,
We will get through this stronger.
And when the world is back on track,
you know we'll be seeing you back at the track.
Your body is a machine.
Protect it.
protect others.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FloRacing.com's coverage of the AMSOIL USAC iRacing Challenge presented by NOS Energy Drink. We're at Knoxville Raceway for round number 2 of this 5-race mini-series, and last week we saw Brennan Rogers claim the $500 victory at Kokomo Speedway in the National Midgets. But tonight we've got some changes, and one of the biggest changes you'll see is the type of cars that will be on track. It'll be the USAC National Sprint Cars with just about all of the best drivers that you see week in and week out with the AMSOIL National Sprint Car Championship, along with the NOS Energy Drink National Midgets. We are so glad you could join us from virtual Knoxville, Iowa tonight, the home of the 20,000 to win Corn Belt Nationals. My name is Chase Rodman, announcer for the USAC CRA Sprint Cars and USAC Western State Midgets, and alongside with me tonight, the former United States Auto Club public address announcer, Dylan Welch. Dylan, glad to have you back for another night of action here, buddy.
Yeah, Chase, glad to be back and excited to watch these guys go at it here. As you mentioned, the sim racers are gone, so it's just up to the USAC boys now to put on a show, and excited to see what they can do here and see what kind of show they can put on here at the home of sprint car racing.
As you can see on your screen now, the format for tonight, 2 laps on the clock for qualifying, which is underway right now. 10-lap heat races, not sure on how many heats exactly we will have, but the top 3 will transfer out of the heat races straight to the main event. We'll have an 18-lap C main with 3 drivers transferring off to the B main, and then a 24-lap B main with the top 6 transferring to the feature event, and then a 40-lap main event consisting of 24 cars. And Dylan, with the elimination of those sim racers from last week, we have been able to add a couple more real-life guys. I mean, we've got Triple Crown champ J.J. Yaley in the house here tonight. We've got Pennsylvania runner Kyle Lick is out here as well. Brody Roa from out west. Connor Leffler. We got Kevin Thomas Jr. Obviously, he was here last week, but Isaac Chappell was not here last week. There's a whole bunch of different names that we're going to be seeing here tonight.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you're tuning in here to watch the best of USAC go at it, you're going to get it tonight because you've got guys who have been in the series for the last couple of years. You've got former champions that have been out of USAC for a while that have gone on to do other things that are back racing with us tonight. So it really is a star-studded field, and excited to watch these guys go at it.
Yeah, quickest in qualifying tonight. How about Caden Brown from Australia picking up the quick time there, 17:7:09. And with that, Dylan, he will line up on the pole of this first heat race. Next to him will be Joey Worth in the 77 car, row number 2. Former USAC CRA Rookie of the Year, Joel Rayborn in the 71. Outside of him, a runner in Indiana, local bull rings back in the day with the non-wing sprint cars, Chase Briscoe. Will start outside row number 2. Inside the 3rd row, Colby Johnson out of Penn Grove, California, lines up in the 5th spot. Outside him, Steven Schnapp in the 61M car. Behind those guys in row number 4, 5-time USAC Western State Midget champion Ronnie Gardner. And outside him is Trey Marcham in the Tub Esports number 32 car. Final row should be Trey's, actually his teammate tonight, Trey Robb in the number 12 car, and Brandon Marin will round out the field in the 43 car. So as you can see there, Dylan, after this first heat race lineup, we've definitely got the names you're looking for here tonight.
Yeah, nice field lined up here for heat race number 1. And as we saw last week at Kokomo, the track in really good shape right now, and got a few guys that we'll keep our eye on coming from the back there. That back row there of Trey Marcham and Trey Robb, obviously a couple gassers. So we'll keep our eye on them and see how they're able to advance forward here.
Looks like there will be 5 heat races there after qualifying. We have enough drivers to get 5 heat races, so 3 drivers will transfer out of each of these 10-lap heat races. There goes that iRacing safety truck into the infield, and it's going to be Caden Brown and Joey Worth leading this field to green. Oh man, Brown is going. He's waiting. The green's in the air. That's probably one of the latest starts I've ever seen, but Brown's going to have the advantage going into turn number 1 here, Dylan.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start there as the field tries to work their way through turns number 1 and 2. Rayburn will slot into that 3rd spot with Worth in 2nd, and Caden Brown leading them all now as Worth bobbles. He'll lose a couple spots through 3 and 4.
Chase Briscoe gets by 2 cars right there. One of them was Rayburn, one of them was Joey Worth. And Trey Marcham's on the move. He came from 8th to 4th in 1 lap. The 32 car Marcham out of Oklahoma now tracking down Joel Rayburn for P3 here.
So that's a couple of those guys that we talked about there in that back row, seeing how quickly they could move forward. Marcham's got one more spot to advance here to lock himself into tonight's show as he rides in that 4th spot, trying to track down Joel Rayburn, who runs in that 3rd spot, and Chase Briscoe ahead of them runs in 2nd.
And I'm really impressed right now with the run for Caden Brown. We ran a lot of practice races before tonight, and Caden Brown was in none of them. Did not see him running any practice laps, but he must have been doing some private testing, Dylan, because he is about a 1.5 seconds ahead of Chase Briscoe, who is no stranger to these race cars here.
Yeah, he's got about half the distance of the back straightaway and half the distance of the corners here at Knoxville as they work off of turn number 4, pulling away from this battle for 2nd, which is held down by Briscoe and Rayburn behind him, not able to find a way around. And as we mentioned, the track pretty hooked up right now, so hard to find a way around as quick as the track is right now.
Yeah, pretty typical heat race track here as everybody's wide open through the middle. Briscoe still hanging on to 2nd. We're halfway home in this one. Joel Rayburn putting some pressure on Briscoe here for that 2nd spot. Marcham closing in, as well as Joey Worth, who's got his footing back under him. He's closing in, trying to make it a 3-car battle for the final transfer spot as Joel Rayburn is trying to force Briscoe into a mistake. Oh, contact for 4th as Worth nearly hits the infield wall, and Marcham's going to get away from him.
Close quarters there for sure. Marcham able to hang on to that 4th spot. Now he's crossed up on the berm off the exit of turn number 2. Down the backstretch, Joey Worth hops the tire. Marcham goes upside down, bangs off the fence on the entry to turn number 3. So he's going to fall back, and now it'll move Joey Worth into that 4th spot with Rayburn still holding on to the final transfer.
And Trey Marcham doing a series of cartwheels there. That's not going to help his situation out. He'll be out in the C main event a little bit later on tonight. Should mention that we will not have any cautions tonight until we get to the 40-lap main event. So no yellows in the heat races or the C or B main event. So keep that in mind if you see a driver going upside down and are wondering where's the red flag, where's the yellow flag. We're not having anything like that till the feature. It's still Rayburn and Briscoe. Best battle on the racetrack is for P2 as they come around this time by for the white flag here in heat race number 1.
And Joey Worth holding on to that 4th spot. He is not quite close enough to challenge those two running up in front of him for that 2nd and 3rd spot. But it's Caden Brown, who has looked really strong from the drop of the green flag, leading all 4 for the final time.
Yeah, and Caden Brown out of Australia will get the win here. Heat race number 1. That will give him the pole position for tonight's 40-lap feature. Chase Briscoe ends up in 2nd, Joel Rayburn 3rd, Joey Worth 4th, Trey Robb 5th, and then behind those guys, Steven Schnapper, Ronnie Gardner, Colby Johnson, Brandon Marin, and then obviously Trey Marcham will end up in 10th after that accident there. So great to see a mixed bag of drivers. Obviously, Ronnie Gardner, you might think of him as a 5-time USAC Western State Midget champ for a long time, though, there, Dylan. He was a front runner with the USAC CRA sprint cars way back in the day, and it's pretty cool to see he's in that 93 car, which was actually the number that he used to run back in the day with USAC CRA. So kind of cool to see some of these guys running some throwback numbers and maybe even some throwback paint schemes out here. Yeah,
people forget that Ronnie was a sprint car racer too before he was a Western States midget stud. But yeah, for sure, one of the best in the history of the United States Auto Club out on the West Coast, and certainly a threat too every time he would venture to the Midwest. So great to see him back in the sprint car for sure.
Heat race number 2 is getting gridded up now, and it's the guy that everybody's been talking about here for the last week or so on the pole. This one, the 13 car. Actually, he's the 19 in game. Logan Seavey on the pole. This one from Sutter, California. Outside of him, peeling the wings off, the 11 car of Zeb Wise. Zeb Wise outside row number 1. Row number 2 be the 35 of Tanner Carrick. Outside him is the 5 car of Anton Hernandez. Row 3, 52 car Isaac Chappell. And outside Chappell, the 08 Cannon McIntosh. inside the fourth row. Really, really cool to see the old Tiger back with us here tonight. Tyler Thomas in the 91 car, and outside him is going to be Thomas Meseral driving, it looks like, the number 29 car here tonight. Final row, 39 car, Matt Goodnight will round out the field here. So some guys that we haven't seen with us after the first week at Kokomo, like Matt Goodnight, like Isaac Chappell. Some of those guys making their first start here with the USAC iRacing Challenge.
Yeah, our buddy Ginge here, Isaac Chappell in the 52, pulling it out here to come race with us at Knoxville. Nice little field here for heat race number 2. This is a good little group that is going to go out of here. Again, top 3 transfers. So CB starting on the pole, almost unfair to these guys who have to start behind him, as hot as he's been in the sim racing deal this last few weeks. So going to be fun and interesting to see if anybody's got anything for him here in heat race number 2.
If CB wins this race tonight, I think Twitter might explode. I mean, honestly, it would be incredible for him to win the late models, wing sprint cars, and a NASCAR race all in the same week, which has probably never been done before in real life either. Here we go. Green flags in the air. CB gets a good jump. We're side by side for second. Give the spot momentarily to Tanner Carrick as Wise goes up to the top of the racetrack. And now with a run, almost runs into the back of Carrick. He actually does there. Anton Hernandez goes by for third.
Yeah, Zeb had a good run there off turn number 2 and got into the back of Carrick. It cost him that final transfer spot as Hernandez goes by. Now Zeb looking inside, contact right front to left rear. That's going to cost Wise the 4th spot, as he'll lose that position to Isaac Chappell, who goes around his outside into 4th.
Chappell having a good run so far in 4th. Now needs to get one more shot. If he can get by the Baldwin brothers number 5 car of Anton Hernandez, he might find himself in the feature event tonight. Zeb Wise runs in 5th, then Thomas Meseral. T-Mez, look at, Chappell spins out, getting to turn 1, and Tyler Thomas, Zeb Wise, and Thomas Meseral all make it by him.
Chappell gave it the old heave-ho there on the entry to turn number 1, looped it around and lost that 4th spot. So that's going to allow Zeb Wise to inherit that position, with Hernandez still running in that 3rd spot, as the groove we've already seen Chase started to move up here a little bit towards the middle of the racetrack, off the bottom there in heat race number 1. Everybody's starting to build up that cushion here in the middle of the racetrack.
Starting to be like kind of a little bit of a slick lane there, entering the corners right there. You can kind of see where it's getting a little bit slicker and a little bit slicker. And as we saw in our practice races earlier on this evening, Dylan, the top of the racetrack's definitely the place you want to be until it gets really, really slick. And then the bottom will start to come back in. And we're halfway home in this one. And the top 3 guys have really pulled away. The best battle looks like, once again, the battle for second between Tanner Carrick, USAC National Midget Stud, and then the number 5 car, Anton Hernandez, a rookie with the USAC National Sprint Car Championship this year.
Yeah, Anton looks like he's maybe a little bit better than Carrick, but just can't find a way around. Again, the racetrack's still pretty hooked up here, and a little bit less of a one-lane racetrack, but certainly hard to still make a move as narrow as it is. But Hernandez in a good spot right now. He doesn't need to force the issue. He's running in that 3rd position with Wise a ways back and 4th.
And I'm really impressed with Thomas Meseral tonight. He did not really have a great debut out there at Kokomo Speedway last week. Currently runs in the 5th spot, looking for a B main position here as he runs over the infield berm, entering turn number 3. T-Mez under fire now from the 52 car of Isaac Chappell, but really, really impressed. It looks like T-Mez might have ran some practice laps throughout the week here.
Yeah, starting to get his race car dialed in for sure. And one thing that we know we can count on with T-Mez is he's going to stand on the gas and put on a show. So whether he locks it into the feature or has to come from the B main, he's going to be one to watch, and moves past Isaac Chappell here into that 5th spot.
Kind of seeing a pattern develop here in these first 2 heat races. We saw the first one, Caden Brown won it by a healthy margin, 2.2 seconds, and currently Logan Seavey leads Tanner Carrick by over a second here. So definitely, if you're the leader, seems like possibly Clean Air is helping you out here as Seavey runs the top of the racetrack down to turn 1. He's on the white flag, making his way down the backstretch one more time for this heat race here.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing, too, is just the track, again, is so fast that once you do have that clean racetrack out in front, you're not having to worry about slowing down for the guy ahead of you. And we've seen the guy that started on the pole so far lock up both heat races.
Yep, Logan Seavey will take home the win in heat race number 2, puts him outside the front row for tonight's 40-lap feature event. Tanner Carrick ends up in 2nd, then Anton Hernandez is in 3rd. Zeb Wise 4th, Thomas Meseral 5th. Behind him was Isaac Chappell, the Tiger, Tyler Thomas. Looks like Matt Goodnight was eighth on the boards there. And then Cannon McIntosh must have had a problem, ends up in 9th, the final spot on the results chart there. And then here we go, heat race number 3, not wasting any time. We know that the program here on iRacing does not waste any time getting these heat races on the racetrack. On the pole, this one, this kid won just about everything he entered last year. Wings, sprint cars, non-wing sprint cars, midgets, outlaw carts, just about everything. Chase Johnson on the pole of this 3rd heat race. Outside him is going to be Aiden Purdue. Row number 2 on the inside, 19 car Chris Wyndham. And outside him is going to be Clinton Boyles. Row 3 inside. How about Broderick Roa there, Dylan, inside the 3rd row? Outside of him is the 54 car of Matt Westphal. Row 4 inside the 8 of Kyle Lick. And outside him, Nick Drake in the number 55 car. Final starter should be J.J. Yaley. He did not get a qualifying lap in. We did see Yaley a lot on Twitter throughout the day and yesterday as well, putting some practice laps in, but obviously J.J. not getting a lap in there, so he's going to have to come from the tail.
Yeah, and we'll watch Nick Drake, too, who is sporting the average Joe's scheme here from from Dodgeball. So excited to watch Nick, who guy kind of like myself, who doesn't get to race very often, but every time he gets behind the wheel of a race car, he's always on the gas and always moving forward. So we'll see what he can do here coming from the back along with Jimmy Jack.
You know, I think the guy that's got to be the favorite to win this heat race here, Dylan, people might not know it, but Aiden Purdue made his USAC National Midget debut at DuQuoin earlier this year. I believe he actually put it in the feature event that night. He's actually a pro driver here on the sim for the USAC stuff last year, but I think his status as a driver in the USAC Midgets has allowed him to join this group here tonight. So I think Purdue's definitely going to be one to watch for throughout the night.
Yeah, absolutely. He's pretty much a sim racer for sure, as good as it gets on the sim. So he's going to be tough tonight. And I think that starting up front, too, be curious to see the guy who started on the pole has won both of these heat races, and here he is on the front row. So have to watch him and see what he can do. I think he's got the preferred line, at least starting on the outside here. So we'll see if that pays dividends for him.
Really interested to watch the progress here of Matt Westphal tonight in the Ray Marshall Motorsports number 33 car. Dylan, before we went on, the track was really slick in practice. They reset it before qualifying. Westphal looked really locked down when the track got super slick. So if Westphal can punch his ticket into the feature, I think he might be a threat come main event time as we're green here in this 3rd heat race. Good jump by Chase Johnson as he leads the field to turn 1, looking for 3 wide. Look at Wyndham on the bottom, and Purdue sideways in the middle of the racetrack. Contact between him and Wyndham.
Yeah, that nearly cost Wyndham there, but he was able to straighten it out. He'll hold on to that 3rd spot as the top 2 work into turn number 3. Wyndham still has 3rd. Clinton Boyles 1 spot out looking in as he rides in the 4th spot.
Brody Roa runs in 5th, and Roa made the trip out from Garden Grove, California a couple years back to actually run here at the Knoxville Raceway. Before it was the Corn Belt Nationals, it was just a points-paying race there at Knoxville. Brody currently runs in 5th. Great battle up front as Aiden Purdue has closed in on Chase Johnson up front. Purdue, we talked about it. It looks like he's in that Driven to Save Lives number 39 car, and he is closing in on CJR up front.
Yeah, he's gotten regrouped here after that bobble in turn number 1 on the initial start, has closed in on Johnson in a hurry. They have left Chris Wyndham, who rides in that 3rd spot, and it's a long ways back to Boyles, who runs in 4th, but Purdue all over Johnson as they work all 4.
He looks to the outside. Johnson being forced down to the inside. Definitely not the place you want to be. Johnson slides up the racetrack right in front of Purdue. Purdue's going to point the car to the bottom down the back straightaway, but Johnson with momentum will maintain the race lead. They're coming around this time by for the halfway signal.
And Wyndham has closed in now as those 2 start to duke it out for the top spot. He is just kind of laying in wait, watching these 2 battle and trying to pick the correct lane as the top 3 all work the cushion. It's starting to get pushed up now, about a car width and a half or so off that outside guardrail. Here's Purdue looking inside for the lead.
Looked like Johnson tried to block the move, Dylan, but Purdue went down there anyways. Here comes the 19 of Wyndham into the picture now. About to have a 3-car battle for the race lead. Came across the line that time by 6 laps down. 10 to go. The NOS Energy Drink 19 car coming into the picture. We're going to have a 3-car battle for the lead to end this thing.
Yeah, good battle for sure as they work into turn number 3. Aiden Purdue just tucked right up under the left rear. Chase Johnson contact. Wyndham gets a piece of it. He's nearly sideways off turn number 4. It may cost him a spot, but it doesn't. He's able to hold on to 3rd, but a close call.
And get this, 3.5 seconds from 3rd back to 4th. Kyle Lick runs 4th, 3.5 seconds behind. Race for the lead. There goes Purdue with the slide job in 3 and 4. Chase Johnson back down to the inside, but Aiden Purdue will lead lap number 8.
And the 4th and 5th place cars behind Wyndham here just stuffed each other in the fence. So this top 3 battle is pretty safe for now. They can hang on to it. Johnson bounces off the wall in the backstretch. Wyndham will throw a slider at him for the 2nd spot.
I'm telling you, these are the toughest cars to drive here in the iRacing simulation. If we could possibly get an onboard camera on one of these guys, you will see them absolutely sawing on the wheel of these national sprint cars here as Chris Wyndham moves up the P2. But it's all Aiden Purdue up front. He's coming around for the white flag this time by.
And it has been a smooth sailing pursuit of that race lead and this checkered flag. Once he was able to dispose of Chase Johnson, he's checked out here by probably 20 car lengths or so over Chris Wyndham, who's got about the same distance back to Chase Johnson in third. And they are solidly in the show right now. A long way back to Brody Rowe, who runs in fourth, but Purdue going to lead him off fourth.
That's Broderick Rowe. It's you actually, Dylan, there. So Aiden Purdue picks up the win. Aiden Purdue picks up the win. Chris Wyndham in second. And Chase Johnson third. Broderick Rowe picks up the fourth spot there. Misses the transfer by one. Kyle Lick was fifth, and then it looks like Clinton Boyles, J.J. Yaley seventh, Nick Drake eighth, and Matt Westfall in the ninth spot. Westfall must have had some problems. He was 8 laps down at the conclusion of that heat race there. Heat race number 4 getting gridded up right now. Let's take a look at this starting lineup. It is going to be Robert Dalby and Dason Persley on the front row. Those are two guys. I was talking to a couple drivers earlier on this evening, Dylan, and it was Dalby and Persley that everybody had their eyes on here to maybe win this race tonight. They start on the front row of this fourth heat race. Row 2, Mario Klauser on the inside. Outside him, the 53 car, Braden Fox. Row number 3, the 28 car, Ace McCarthy, and former national sprint car champion Tyler Courtney will line up in the 6th spot. Row 4, Dennis Guile in the 36, and outside him is Ione, California's Justin Grant. And shocking on the field, starting 9th, the 25 car, Shane Meal will round out this field here. And man, we've got some heavy hitters here with Justin Grant, Courtney, Persley, Klauser. I mean, there's a whole bunch of names in this one.
Yeah, and Justin Grant, of course, has won here at Knoxville in the real-life USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car, so knows what it takes to get around here, and he's got a little bit of work to do here in this heat race, so if he's able to march forward in that 4th car.
Yeah, Grant, I believe it was either June or July 3rd, 2017, picked up the win here at Knoxville. Out of 12 different appearances for the USAC National Sprint Car Series at Knoxville, the most wins belongs to Brady Bacon. Obviously swept the Corn Belt Nationals last year and picked up a win back in 2011 at this half-mile speedway as well. So Brady unfortunately could not be here tonight, Dylan. He was on the entry list, but having some kind of family emergency, and we wish Brady well. We hope everything's all right there, but we wish he could be here as well with us tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. Brady, one of the toughest competitors for sure when national sprint cars come to Knoxville. He would have been a nice addition tonight, but more important matters at hand to attend to for him. So we'll race on without him. And as you said, Chase, hope everything's okay.
Well, green flag's out for this 4th heat race. Robert Dalby, last year's USAC Western State Midget champion, jumping out to the race lead, car number 3. Behind him, it's the Tops Up Here Buddy Esports number 9 car of Dason Persley. Then the 53 car, Braden Fox running in 3rd. Ace McCarthy side by side with Mario Klauser for 4th. There goes McCarthy with a slide job, and there goes Klauser back to his inside.
Nice little battle here as they race off turn 4 for that 4th spot. McCarthy will hold on to it with Klauser back into the 5th spot as they work through the top side of turns number 1 and 2, trying to get it sorted out to track down this race for the transfer spot here into 3.
Watching Tyler Courtney, the NOS Energy Drink number 7 BC car, trying to make his way to the front of the field. He ran a lot of practice laps leading up to tonight's 40-lap main event. He's looking to track down Mario Klauser and Ace McCarthy, but looks like Sunshine might be struggling a little bit. That car wants to come around on him, center of the corner, as McCarthy getting tracked back down by Klauser for 4th.
Yeah, and Sunshine in the green jamming in storage Jeff Walker special here as he works off of turn number 4, trying to race his way back forward here. He runs in that 6th spot right now, working on Ace McCarthy. He runs in 5th.
Going to turn my eyes back up to the race for the lead here as the 9 car Persley is all over Robert Dalby for the race lead. They continue to work to the top side of the racetrack here. Turns 3 and 4 down the front stretch. They put lap number 5 in out of 10. It is Dalby, Persley, and in the 3rd spot at the moment, it is Braden Fox.
They continue to push this cushion, this higher groove, higher and higher still towards the outside wall with each heat race here. So with a couple more to go, interested to see how far up it goes. We saw Persley just now. He worked the bottom off turn number 4, seemed to still have some moisture down there, but I think the top's still the way to go as he runs in that 2nd spot.
Yeah, Persley tried to turn it down the hill off of turn number 4, wasn't able to close in on Robert Dalby. Dalby continuing to do a fantastic job at the front of the field. Let's take a look back here and see if there's any good battles going on. Klauser's clear of McCarthy. Now McCarthy's got some pressure from behind for the 5th spot as Sunshine is starting to close in on him just a little bit here.
Yeah, nice little battle here as they work through the high side of turns number 1 and 2. Sunshine pulls it off the cushion there at the exit of turn number 2, but McCarthy just a little bit better down the back straightaway. Sunshine going to try and slide up across the middle of the racetrack and got a little bit sideways. McCarthy able to pull away from him and hold on to 5th.
And Pursley's back all over Robert Dalby up front. Pursley's 4 in the cabbage off turn number 2 right there, doing everything he can to track down Robert Dalby. Last time by, Pursley was 3/10 faster than your race leader, that number 9 car. I'm telling you, Dylan, he's got a shot to win the entire thing here tonight. If he can get by Dalby, he'll have a fantastic starting spot in the feature event a little bit later.
Yeah, he's looked really smooth here. Dalby pulls off the cushion there off of turn number 4 as the white flag's going to come out here. We'll see if Pursley is able to throw some sort of Hail Mary at him. Just lost a little bit there on entry to turn number 1. Dalby may be ahead by just enough as they work into 3.
Yeah, these cars so finicky. One little misstep and you're going to lose some ground here. As you can see, the racetrack is starting to develop a big slick group right through the middle. It's starting to get slick on the straightaways as well, which is very hard for these guys to keep these cars straight down the straightaways. Here we come to the checkered flag, and Robert Dalby, Anaheim, California driver, is going to pick up the heat race number 4 win, followed by Dason Pursley and Braden Fox. A fantastic run. Didn't really talk about him there, but Braden Fox did a great job finishing up 3rd. He was 5 seconds behind your top 2, but gets that final transfer spot nonetheless. Mario Klauser 4th. Behind Klauser, looks like it was going to be Ace McCarthy, Tyler Courtney, Dennis Guile, Justin Grant, and Shane Neal not able to make it out onto the racetrack there. Final heat race coming up here, and it's going to be Ronnie Werdeman on the pole. Next to him, the 48 car tonight, Christopher Bell on the front row of this one. Row number 2 will be Connor Leffler, and outside Leffler, Corbin Hayslett in row number 2. Row 3, Tanner Thorson inside that 3rd row, starting 5th, and outside him, the 72 car, Sam Johnson. 4th row should be Carson Garrett, and outside of him is Braden Cromwell. Final starter looks like Kevin Thomas Jr. He's going to have a lot of work to do starting back in the 9th spot. KT has not really taken too much to the iRacing sprint cars here so far tonight, Dylan. He did not get a very good qualifying lap in.
Yeah, again, as we talked about last week, look, this is hard, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how many laps you have in the real race car. It's hard when you jump on this sim and try and be competitive. So if you're not able to put in the adequate amount of time to really get yourself honed in on how to get around these racetracks the best way possible, it's going to be hard to just jump in these race sessions and compete. So it is difficult, and I think it showed there for KT that it's easier said than done, I think, sometimes to just jump in these things and be fast. So we'll be curious to see what he does over the course of the night. If he's able to move forward in his heat race here, that'll certainly benefit him as we get more into the racing program.
Still got one more pace lap to go here. Great to see Christopher Bell behind the wheel of the USAC National Sprint Car, whether it's in real life or in the game or in the simulation, I'd say here. But I'm trying to think back of when the last time Bell ran a non-wing sprint car. It had to be probably, what, 2016 or 15, Dylan? I know he ran a lot to Indiana Sprint Week with Keith Coons one year, but I can't remember the exact time. We'll have to get Richie Murray back in the stat book there and try and check that out.
Yeah, I know he ran for Keith in 2013, which was the year he won the National Midget Championship, but he ran Sprint Week in Keith's old coil car. So not quite the same bullet he's got behind the wheel tonight, but we're green here in our final heat race as Ronnie Werdeman able to squirt out to an early lead.
Well, close call into turn 1 with Connor Leffler and Christopher Bell. They made some contact. Bell's able to escape with the 2nd spot. Leffler in 3rd, and Corbin Hayslett running in the 4th position. Here comes Tanner Thorson, the 88 car, making his way to the inside of Hayslett. They get single filed out as they work off turn number 4.
Yeah, Thorson making moves here early. Back up front, though, battle for the lead. Christopher Bell going to try the long, slow slider on Werdeman. He'll clear him for the top spot, then defend to the bottom. See Bell to the lead down the backstretch as Werdeman falls back to 2nd.
Ronnie Werdeman in 2nd, a veteran in the USAC Silver Crown Series. In P2, we're in that 33 car. Bell doing a fantastic job, picked up a big one. Here comes Werdeman with another slide job into the corner. Oh, Bell sideways. They're going to make contact there. It looked like Bell was trying to turn it underneath him, Dylan, but kind of misjudged it and almost spun out.
Yeah, and Werdeman just kind of had a slow, lazy slider there, and it's a long way across the banking here at Knoxville, so you got to sometimes be a little bit more precise and quicker than that. But Bell is going to draw the short straw on this deal. He's got his hands full now trying to hang on to the final transfer spot as Corbin Hayslett is all over his back bumper for 3rd.
Yeah, Hayslett doing a great job, a regular with the Boss Sprint Car Series in Ohio. Does run some USAC stuff every now and again. There's some contact between Bell and Hayslett. They hang on to it, but we've got a new race leader up front. It's Connor Leffler, who made his USAC National Sprint Car debut a couple months back at Ocala, and he takes the lead away from Ronnie Werdeman. Leffler, he's a young driver out here, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, for sure, and looking good here in the early goings in heat race number 5 at Knoxville. Back to that battle for the final transfer. C. Bell has it once again, but again, he has got his hands full with Corbin Hazlett. For now, the gap about 2 or 3 car lengths, but one mistake out of Bell, and Hazlett will be all over him, trying to pounce and take that final transfer spot away.
Definitely, Corbin Hazlett doing a great job right now to keep in touch with Christopher Bell here and keeping him in check as Bell gets away a little bit down the front straightaway right there. As that battle for third starting to sizzle out a little bit. There goes Hazlett, tries a slide job, gets a little bit sideways, and Bell's going to drive away a little bit. Back behind them, Tanner Thorson still working in the 5th spot. The Walker Performance Filtration number 88 car doing a great job. Behind him is Carson Garrett, Sam Johnson, and Braden Cromwell, who's kind of struggling with the handling. Here comes Hazlett back to the back bumper, Christopher Bell.
And you can really see on entry just how far up. I mean, the cushion is basically on the outside wall. Maybe half a car width or so separates the cushion from the outside guardrail. So got to be very precise. Up ahead of Thorson here, battle for that 3rd spot. Hazlett looked inside of Bell to no avail.
And Richie Murray got back to me last time Bell ran a USAC National Sprint Car was 2014. Let's see if he can put in the show. Look at the bomber from Hazlett. They're going to make contact. Hazlett hangs on to it, but that was a bomber from Dingus right there, Dylan.
Yeah, for no doubt about that. And Bell had the option to lift and cross him over, but Hazlett kind of threw a bomb at him, and C. Bell just stayed in the gas and give him just a little bit of a tap, just enough to get away from him. And Bell for now going to hold on to that 3rd spot as the white flag's out chase.
Tanner Thorson tried a shot there at Corbin Hazlett last time by through 3 and 4, and Thorson came up short, hit the wall, hung onto the 5th spot. We're coming around for the checkered flag this time by, and it's going to be Connor Leffler, a dominating heat race number 5 victory over Ronnie Werdeman. Christopher Bell in 3rd. That's the final transfer spot. Corbin Hazlett was 4th, Tanner Thorson 5th, and it looks like it's going to be Carson Garrett coming across the line in 6th. Sam Johnson 7th, Kevin Thomas Jr. in 8th, and it looks like Braden Cromwell in the 9th spot, 1 lap down. So heat race action has completed here, Dylan, and this racetrack really starting to shape up nicely. We saw some good battles throughout those heat races.
Yeah, no doubt, and it is nice and wide, and just kind of monitoring the chat here. I think everybody's pretty happy with the racetrack right now, and it is in good shape. So got a nice bottom, a wide cushion, a wide racetrack to throw some sliders here, and it's going to be fun as the track continues to slick off over the course of these preliminary and semi-feature races. I think we're going to have a good racetrack come feature time. So a few guys, too, with some work to do. We saw the racetrack be pretty narrow here in the early heat races, and there was a handful of guys that started at the back that weren't able to advance that are going to have to come from these C and B mains, so we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, how about an 18-car C-main lineup coming up at you here? 14 laps to distance. It's going to be Ronnie Gardner on the pole. This one next to him is Tyler Thomas on the outside. Row number 2, it's going to be J.J. Yaley on the inside. Outside him, Dennis Guile. And then we have to go back to row number 3, Sam Johnson and Colby Johnson. No relation between those two on that 3rd row. Row number 4 looks like it's going to be Matt Goodnight and Nick Drake in the 55 car. Row number 5, Kevin Thomas Jr., Justin Grant. And then behind those guys, row number 6, Brandon Marin and Cannon McIntosh. Row 7, Matt Westfall, and Shane Neal will line up to his outside in 14th. Braden Cromwell will start 15th with Trey Marcham in 16th. And then that'll actually be a 16-car starting lineup. I don't know what happened there, Dylan Welch, but you're on my starting lineup. We'll have to get you out of there. But Marcham will start from the tail of the field, and he showed a lot of speed. I think that was in the first heat race, Dylan, and I think it's going to be fun to watch Trey come from the back here.
Yeah, no doubt. He was really good and just made that small mistake there and was running in 4th and cost him a potential transfer spot into tonight's feature. Yeah, Chase, I saw that I was on the lineup here. I thought about just plugging my wheel in and seeing what I could do here, but I'll go ahead and
race reporter.
I know. I mean, I've always wanted to do that. Everybody's always said that I need to announce and race at the same time, so I think that was my shot.
We might have to try it next week at Williams Grove when the USAC iRacing Challenge heads off to there. We'll see if we can maybe work something in there. Maybe get an onboard camera from your sim rig there. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, there we go. It's not much of a sim rig, but we'll have to give it a shot for sure. It'd be fun.
Well, here we go, working on that final pace lap here before we get going. Ronnie Gardner will lead this field to green. Cool to see J.J. Yaley out here tonight. And Dylan, I got to do something really cool this year with the USAC CRA Sprint Cars at Canyon Speedway Park. J.J. Yaley got behind the wheel of a 410 Sprint Car there. I thought I would never, ever announce a race with J.J. Yaley, the Triple Crown champion back in 2003. And I think it was the first time in something like 5 years or something that J.J. got behind the wheel of a 410 Sprint Car. And that was a really, really cool thing because J.J. is a legend in USAC racing for sure.
Yeah, and I saw him that weekend at the NASCAR track. He was pumped up. He was excited. So that was pretty cool that he was able to get back behind the wheel. But he's got some business to take care of here as our C main is green and Ronnie Gardner leads the field into turn 1.
It looks like we're only taking the top 3 out of the 16 cars on the track. There goes Tyler Thomas at the race lead, gets by Ronnie Gardner. Thomas a little bit squiggly down the straightaway there, but he maintains the lead nonetheless in the 91T car. Ronnie Gardner points it back down to the inside, side by side for the race lead across the start-finish line. Ronnie Gardner leads lap number 1.
And Gardner will slide up to the cushion, keeps it out of the wall, just barely, but he'll hold on to the race lead. Tyler Thomas there on the bottom, trying to catch the moisture as Gardner bounces off the fence, picks the left rear up, is going to cost him the lead as Thomas slides by.
I'm telling you, enter the corner a little bit too late, get up there in the cabbage, the 4 and the fluff style deal right there, and you are going to tip one of these things over. It's really easy to bike these race cars, and Ronnie Gardner about center out of the ballpark, getting into turn 3, third spot. Final transfer belongs to Colby Johnson, and behind him is Sam Johnson. Here comes Sam to the inside, trying to make a bid for third.
And he missed the bottom, and he's kind of hung in the slick, but made it work. He's still side by side with Colby Johnson down the front stretch for that second spot. Now he wants one more here. Slider on Ronnie Gardner for the P2 position. He'll take it, so Sam Johnson making the bottom work now off 2.
Old Sammy making it work. Oh, who's the lap car spinning out in front of the field? That looks like it's going to be Brandon Marin. Marin hangs on to it. Oh, boy, we're stacking them up, and there goes Ronnie Gardner. He's into the fence. There goes his top 3 run, and that's now going to move, looks like Cannon McIntosh into the second spot, and now McIntosh on the outside is going to lead this thing.
Oh, man, he caught Thomas there, hung out in the middle of the racetrack, just ripped the top off turn number 2 and goes to the race lead. Gotta love those lap cars that are just inevitably always in the way, and it cost Ronnie Gardner a transfer position there. But Cannon McIntosh on the hammer here and looking smooth on the cushion as he leads the field off 2.
Yeah, McIntosh started way back in the 12th starting spot, and he made his way to the front in just 5 laps. So McIntosh, the 08 car, putting on a show on the top of the racetrack. Good battle for second still between Sam Johnson and Tyler Thomas, who went from leading this thing back to the bubble spot as Thomas, they run into each other down the front straightaway. Thomas gives him a shot in the shorts right there. Getting into turn 1, Johnson is hanging on to that thing for all she's worth. He's still P2, but Tyler Thomas trying to make it by a windshield wiper up there, it seems like.
Yeah, and Nick Drake, who runs in that 4th spot, started at the back, but he is a ways back of these guys, so no real pressure for Thomas to make any sort of brave move, but he's in the field or in the B main right now if he can just hang on to that 3rd spot.
Still a lot of laps left in this thing, still 6 to go, and Cannon McIntosh is putting a whooping on these guys. He puts a lap down on Trey Marcham as he works off the top of the racetrack down to the stripe. Lap number 9 goes in the books. It is still Sam Johnson in the second spot. Nope, there goes Tyler Thomas around the outside in turn number 4. Thomas has the second spot in turn number 2 as there goes Johnson working back to the inside. He is hanging that thing in the slick. He needs to maybe do a little bit more throttle control here because, man, he's getting that rear end just about all the way around here, Dylan.
Well, look, and we talk all the time about how tough it is to run the bottom here in Knoxville because of that berm down there on the inside of the racetrack. It's hard, and we're seeing Sam kind of try to do that here. He just goes down there and keeps clipping the apron, but he's making it work as he drives right by Tyler Thomas, who kind of turned off the cushion there and was able to cross him back over, but not quite as bad as you may think there, as Johnson is kind of keeping his right rear in the slick, but keeping the left rear in the moisture and making it work.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Tyler Thomas actually, obviously a winner. Oh, what the heck? Who was that? Somebody spun out right in front of Tyler Thomas. He's able to avoid them. Great wreck avoidance there by the Tiger. But Tyler Thomas, a couple of years back, picking up that huge win at the Kokomo SmackDown. I can't remember if that was the final night of the SmackDown, Dylan, or a prelim night. But Tyler Thomas, that was one of his most proud moments, winning that big race there at Kokomo Speedway a couple of years back, as he still runs in second here 2 laps to go.
Man, these guys are probably ready for this to be over so they quit having to avoid all these crashed lap cars here. This is 2 or 3 in a row that Thomas has nearly clipped as they race in that second spot and third spot for Sam Johnson. But as the laps continue to wind down here, it has been a runaway for sure for the race leader as they work off of turn number 4, and that's Cannon McIntosh. He's been smooth on that cushion and looks good again here off 2.
Yeah, McIntosh leads this field by 7 seconds back to Tyler Thomas, as here comes Sam Johnson back to the top. He's going to half spin again, gives up a lot of ground to Tyler Thomas. All he's got to do is make a couple more corners here, and Johnson will be at the back of tonight's big lineup for the B main. We're going to have something like 20 cars in that thing, but he'll have about 20 laps to get up to the front of the field as McIntosh works off the top of the racetrack in turn number 4, and he will come across the line to win the C main event here tonight in that 08 car. Second was Tyler Thomas. Sam Johnson will end up in third, final transfer spot behind those guys: Nick Drake, Matt Westfall, Matt Goodnight, Ronnie Gardner, J.J. Yaley, Braden Cromwell, Brandon Marin, Trey Marcham, Kevin Thomas Jr., Colby Johnson, Dennis Guile, and Justin Grant will round out that 15-car field there. So next up, we're going to have a 20-lap B main. It looks like the top 9 drivers will actually transfer out of this B main. And we have to change up the format sometimes there, Dylan, when some drivers don't end up showing up to the race here. So 9 of these guys will transfer out of this thing. It's an 18-car field. It's going to be Joey Worth on the pole this one with Zeb Wise to his outside. Row number 2, Brody Roa, I should say, inside row number 2. And then on the outside of him is the 6-car Mario Klauser. Row number 3, Corbin Haslett and Trey Robb. Row number 4, Thomas Mesral Timez, and on the outside him, Kyle Lick. Row 5, Ace McCarthy and Tanner Thorson. And then behind them in row number 6, Steven Schnapp and looks like Isaac Chappell in the 52 car. Row 7, Clint Boyles and Sunshine Tyler Courtney. And then behind those guys, it'll be Carson Garrett and then everybody else from the B main event, Cannon McIntosh, Tyler Thomas, and Sam Johnson. And I think looks like they did reset the track here to dang near brand new here, Dylan. So that's really going to shake things up for these guys.
Yeah, especially within a 9-car transferring B main here. It looks like the racetrack is about like it was in heat race number 1. So curious to see what these guys towards the back can do that came out of the C main that just had laps on this racetrack. But it's going to be hammered down for sure. So look for these guys to move around and try anything. With 9 cars transferring, you don't have to be particularly aggressive. And especially with it being a 24-lap race, that also, or a 20-lap race, I should say, that also aids to your advantage if you've got some ground to make up. So, but as you said, a lot of really, really good cars kind of marred back in the pack here. So, we'll see what they can do.
And if you're wondering why did they reset the track here before the B main, actually all the drivers, there's a chat box. They can talk to each other, whether it's voice chat or text chat, and they have let the officials know they would like to see the track reset for this B main, get all 20 laps on this thing with all 18 cars out there. Then we'll have a warm-up before the feature, which will wear the track in a little bit more. And then hopefully by the time we're ready for the main event, we'll have a pretty 2-lane racetrack. We'll have to see how that works out here as the pace car pulls off the field in the hands of Joey Worth and Zeb Wise. Green flags out, 20-lap B main and 9 cars transferring. Here we go, Dylan.
And they work down into turn number 1. It's Zeb Wise running in that 2nd spot, nose to tail with Joey Worth down into 3. Worth clips the inside berm, shoots up the racetrack. Zeb Wise able to sweep to the inside. He'll lead lap 1.
And a tough break behind those guys as Corbin Haslett got sideways. Timez ran into the back of him and ended both of their nights. They fall to the back of the field. Wise leads the field down the backstretch, followed by Joey Worth. Brody Roa having a good run here in 3rd. Kyle Lick 4th. Trey Robb 5th. Steven Schnapp in the 6th spot. And then behind him, Ace McCarthy. Tanner Thorson holds down the 9th and final transfer spot for now.
Yeah, and again, that's something important to remember here. 9 transfer out of this race. So they work down into turn number 1 and 2. Cars spread all over the racetrack. Watching a battle here for the 10th spot. Mario Klauser, Tyler Courtney, Corbin Haslett all racing for position here off of turn number 4 and banging wheels. But back up front, or in front of these guys, a good little battle here for this transfer spot. Steven Schnapp has the 7th spot. Trey Robb in this mix as well. So good battle for the final transfer.
Cannon McIntosh from the C main has made his way up to 9th. The final transfer spot. Now he looks to the inside of Tanner Thorson. And there goes McIntosh up to P8. As you can see, Tanner Thorson might be having some internet problems there as he is kind of losing connection there, blinking out of the picture. But he's still there as McIntosh goes by for 8th. Now McIntosh to the inside of Steven Schnapp. Gives him the right side nerf bar there and takes over the 7th spot.
And that's what you got to do sometimes when the track is a little bit narrow. You got to just muscle your way past these guys, and that's what Cannon did. So he's in a little more comfortable spot now than he would have been if he was in that 8th position. He's got 1 car buffer between himself in the bubble position. Steven Schnapp now rising that 8th spot. Corbin Haslett and Tanner Thorson duking it out for the 9th and final transfer spot.
Yeah, I'm a little worried here for Tanner Thorson. Corbin Haslett looked really good earlier on in the heat race before having some trouble, and he is tracking down Tanner Thorson for the final transfer position. Haslett, after getting collected earlier on with Thomas Meserol, fell to the back and is now trying to make a charge back to the front of the field. Still a ton of laps to go. 12 laps to go to be exact in this 20-lap B main event. Corbin Haslett needs to get up on the throttle here, up in the seat, to try and track down the 88 car of Thorson.
Yeah, and again, it's hard as fast as the track is right now. It's hard to make up any ground because you can go about anywhere. We're seeing Thorson just move around from top to bottom. Wherever there's moisture, he's searching for it and making it work right now as he holds on to that 9th position. That's all he needs to do. He's pulling away from Haslett now down the backstretch.
Yep, Tanner Thorson, not very many non-wing sprint car starts in his career. Did run the Louisville Classic at the Calistoga Speedway a couple years back for Clyde Lamar. Ended up on the lid, I believe, the second night in that thing and destroyed the chassis. And I think he's got maybe one other non-wing start, but Tanner Thorson, primarily obviously a midget driver, and he does run wing sprint cars quite a bit as well. So not a whole lot of non-wing experience for Thorson, but he's making it work now as he looks to the outside of Steven Schnapp, and there he goes, Thorson up to the 8th spot.
And making it work, he's found that cushion as he works through 1 and 2, and now Steven Schnapp going to be on the bubbles. They work off of turn number 2 and work down the back straightaway. So going to get a little dicey now as Hazlett gets taken out by a lap car who bounced off the outside wall. Not sure who that was, but he was in that 10th position, and his battle for the transfer spot is going to come to a close with that contact.
Well, if you can believe this, it was actually Thomas Meserol that got into him after they made contact earlier on in the night, but I don't think Meserol did that on purpose. Meserol crashed all by himself, bounced off the wall, came back down the track, and sure enough hit Corbin Hazlett. So kind of karma. I'm not really sure, though. That was just bad fate there for Corbin Hazlett.
And the beneficiary of that bad luck for Hazlett is Mario Klauser, because he goes into the 9th spot now. So Mario Speedwagon in a transfer position right now as we've got 6 laps to go as the field works down the front straightaway. So if Klauser is able to hang on to this position, he'll be able to lock himself in to tonight's feature event.
We're now taking our attention to, looks like Tyler Thomas, who's back in 10th out of the C main event. Old TT, the Tiger, trying to catch up to the Speedwagon. Mario Klauser, he's only about 10 car lengths behind him. One mistake out of the Yokohama Tires number 6 car, and the 91T of Thomas might be able to close in there for a late race charge up to the transfer spot. Klauser a little bit up there in the fluff in turn number 2, but nonetheless is able to drive away from it. The 91T car, Thomas, trying his best to track him down here.
And he's been really smooth, Thomas has, on the cushion at both ends of the racetrack, as has Klauser, though. Mario doing exactly what he needs to do to hold on to that final transfer spot as these guys continue to work the cushion up the racetrack. Thomas nearly clips the wall there off of turn number 2, but trying to track down Klauser. He's running out of time, though, if he's going to do that.
And I'm seeing a battle up ahead of these guys. Cannon McIntosh is on a mission, Dylan, from 16th up to 4th. Here he comes to the inside of Joey Worth, and there goes McIntosh to P3. The 08 car is on a rail here in this B main. For how hooked up the racetrack is, McIntosh is making it work.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He is on the move and going anywhere and everywhere he needs to, kind of entering on the cushion, turning down low, catching the moisture off the bottom. 4 in the fluff there on the entry to turn number 3. So wherever he needs to go, that 08 car is working, and he's on the charge, and he's got himself set up nice for the feature if he can finish this deal off.
Checking back in with our friend Tyler Thomas, seeing his progress to try and catch up to Mario Klauser as TT runs it through the middle of the racetrack there in 1 and 2. He's about just under. Oh, Klauser's into the wall. He's upside down the backstretch, and that was what TT needed to see as Klauser does multiple backflips, cartwheels, and all other kinds of gymnastical things down the back straightaway. And there goes TT on the white flag lap. He's up to 9th.
Look, that's exactly what we talked about, right? Klauser just doing all he needed to do. Now Thomas makes a little bit of a mistake on the cushion, but comfortable in that 9th spot as he works into 3 and 4. Now we got 2 cars parked in 3 and 4. Thomas is going to be able to escape those guys, and he'll hold on to the final transfer.
And Brody Roa was one of them running in the 2nd spot, and I don't think Roa's going to cross the line. Let me take a look here when they come across as the timing and scoring updates. I'm waiting for it to update on my screen here. Wise, McIntosh 2nd, Worth, Rob, Schnapp, McCarthy, Thorson, Thomas, and Hazlett will come across the line in 9th, Dylan. And Brody Roa running in the top 3. The whole race ends up 10th. Unbelievable.
Man, how about that? So Corbin Hazlett gets crashed by the lap car of Thomas Meserol. Looks like his race is over, and then he just sneaks in the show by 1 there to get it done. So even when you think your night's done, that shows the importance of just staying after it and continuing to run all the laps, because you never know.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen here watching on FlowRacing.com, thank you for watching this race. We hope this 30-lap feature event is going to be a good one. But for now, we're going to take a short break here. Come back with the feature event. So stay with us here on FlowRacing.com.
your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stomp the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/engine.
Human horsepower, NOS energy drink, high performance energy.
Up at sunrise. Farming is a way of life. It always allows you to appreciate what the good Lord gave us. It's not easy, but it's our way of life. This is a tradition that never gets old, and we don't break tradition. That's why we always buy our trucks from Eddie Gilstrap, generations prior and generations to come.
Where the cushion is very thin.
Live and on-demand coverage of the sport we all love.
Oil Fire, America's first seductive handcrafted spirit.
Wow, so smooth, seductively smooth.
The perfect gift.
It's the USAC AMSOIL iRacing Challenge presented by NOS Energy Drink. The top 25 in USAC iRacing League points versus USAC's best midget sprint car and Silver Crown stars. Tyler Courtney, Chris Wyndham, Christopher Bell, Logan Seavey, and more. Don't miss these epic events. April 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd. Watch it live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Flow Racing.
Welcome back here to the virtual Knoxville Raceway for round number 2 of the USAC iRacing Challenge presented by Flow Racing, or sorry, not Flow Racing, but NOS Energy Drink here on FlowRacing.com. I'm Chase Rodman with Dylan Welch up here in the booth, and Dylan, we are just about ready for this 30-lap main event. The drivers seem like they're happy with this racetrack, and any final thoughts before we go down this starting grid?
Well, look, a long feature here ahead of us is lots of time to make up ground, and there's a few guys, as we've talked about all night long, that have some work to do coming from the back, but also some really heavy hitters starting up front. Logan Seavey, Aiden Purdue, Caden Brown, all three of those guys have been really good tonight. They were really good last week at Kokomo too, so going to be tough for those guys, even if they are able to mount some sort of charge forward to keep up with these guys who have been so strong throughout the first couple weeks of this series here.
Logan Seavey looking to pick up his 4th win of the week. A couple nights ago, picked up a win in the World of Outlaws Late Model Invitational, World of Outlaws Sprint Car Invitational the night before that. Then last Saturday, won a race on the pavement at Bristol with the NASCAR guys. So if he can win tonight, that would be unbelievable here. Remember, these drivers going for a $500 top prize for winning this race tonight, $300 for second and $100 for third. Here we go for tonight's main event lineup. On the pole, the Australian, it's going to be Caden Brown, and outside him, it is the 19 car of Logan Seavey. Row number 2 on the inside, it's Aiden Perdue. In the 39 car, outside him, it's Robert Dalby. Row 3 inside, Connor Leffler and Chase Briscoe works to his outside. Row number 4, Tanner Carrick and Chris Wyndham, with row number 5 consisting of Dason Persley and Ronnie Werdeman. Row 6, it's going to be Joel Raybon on the inside and Anton Hernandez on the outside. On row 7, Chase Johnson and Braden Fox. Row 7, going a long way back on the grid to find Christopher Bell, and outside him is the 11 of Zeb Wise. This guy made a hell of a charge from the C main to the feature tonight, the 08 of Cannon McIntosh, and outside McIntosh, the 77 car of Joey Worth. Behind those guys, back on row 10, it's Trey Robb and Steven Schnapp. Row 11, it's going to be Ace McCarthy, Tanner Thorson. And behind those guys, some guys that had some big-time luck in the B main, Tyler Thomas, Corbin Haslett, find themselves starting last row in this 30-lap feature event. Dylan, this racetrack looks like it's in pretty good shape here for a fantastic race. And, this is just the first race we're going to see this week, Saturday night, $2,000 to win, midget race at Fairbury. So a busy week for these USAC guys, but we got to get this one in the books just before that one.
Yeah, that big money show on Saturday going to be a lot of fun. But, yeah, as you mentioned, the racetrack really in nice shape right now, and got a really wide bottom, a nice top that we can see is going to slick off through the middle as well. So going to be a great feature here, and excited to watch the second round here of this USAC iRacing Challenge get underway.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, there are cautions here in this feature event. We work off turn number 4. Round number 2 of the USAC iRacing Challenge presented by NOS Energy Drink is green here at Knoxville. And Caden Brown jumps out front. Not a very good start at all for Logan Seavey. Look at Connor Leffler with a slide job by 2 cars. Leffler up to third momentarily as Tanner Carrick works back to his inside and reclaims that third spot.
Yeah, Carrick looking good on the bottom there in 1 and 2. Drove in a little hard and slid up on entry to turn number 3, but able to guide the car back down to the bottom. They're nearly side by side for that second spot. Carrick this time going to bail on the bottom. He'll move to the top side, challenging Aiden Perdue.
3-car breakaway up front. It is Caden Brown with the lead, followed by Aiden Perdue. Then Tanner Carrick, 4th is Connor Leffler, 5th is Logan Seavey. Behind Seavey's Robert Dalby. He's challenged to the inside by Dason Persley and Cannon McIntosh from 17th up to the 8th spot across the line in 2 laps, Dylan. The 08 car is absolutely rolling tonight.
Yeah, he has not wasted any time, and any time he's been on the racetrack, he has been moving forward, no doubt about that. He is challenging now for a top 5 spot as they work through turns 3 and 4. He is smooth around that bottom groove, runs in the 7th spot now off turn number 4 as he's challenging Seavey for 6th.
And look at this, everyone, your leader's into the wall. Caden Brown bounces off the wall in turn 2, and on the bottom, Carrick takes the lead momentarily. Brown back around him on the outside. Who is that? A lap car just pulled out in front of the whole field and just destroyed Tanner Carrick, and somehow we are staying green.
Oh, man, Tanner Carrick, wrong place at the wrong time. Just absolutely thundered that lap car, but somehow still held on to a top 5 spot with minimal damage here as he works down the back straightaway. He's challenging Cannon McIntosh, who runs in that 4th spot.
Great battle for the lead. Aiden Perdue on the bottom. He'll take the lead on lap number 6. Behind him is Caden Brown in 2nd. 3rd is Connor Leffler. McIntosh 17th to 4th. Actually make that C main up to 4th as he now loses that spot as Tanner Carrick gets back by him somehow. Carrick with no damage there after hitting the parked car of Joey Worth moves back into 4th. But the race for the lead is a good one as they're trying to find the right line, and it looks like Perdue has found that line first.
No doubt about that. He has been looking really strong here and moved right to the bottom of the racetrack because they worked down the back straightaway. Perdue been really smooth and able to get in front of Caden Brown and get just enough buffer now that Brown's going to have a hard time getting back to him unless we get a yellow.
There goes the race for the 4th spot. Give it to Cannon McIntosh. He gets by Tanner Carrick, but I think McIntosh is going to need a caution if he wants any shot at this thing. But if he's able to pull off, this will be one of the greatest runs I've ever seen in iRacing history as he's trying to fend off Tanner Carrick, who works back down to the inside. Now, McIntosh runs over the infield berm, diamonds it off the corner in turn 4, maintains 4th, and is coming after the 3rd place car of Connor Leffler.
You can see that the bottom is just starting to get a little bit narrow, and it's hard to hit it just right on entry. Almost not enough room there to just be stuck all the way in, and you almost do have to slide up into the slick and then cut it back down. But meanwhile, back up front, Caden Brown has reeled in Aiden Perdue. They are nose to tail down the front stretch for the lead.
Yeah, but where does Brown go? The bottom of the racetrack seems to be dominant here. It seems like it's the best place to be. Brown's going to have to try something else or hope for a mistake out of Aiden Purdue, but no mistakes being given as Purdue pulls away 5 car lengths down the backstretch, coming off turn number 4 this time by. Already a third of the way through this race, 11 down across the stripe and 19 to go.
Yeah, Purdue really has done a nice job here to not crack under pressure, smoothly around the bottom, keeping that left rear hung right in the moisture, and Brown's been a little bit more on the attack mode and has overshot the corner just a little bit. Does so again there as he runs over the berm. That's going to allow Purdue to pull away that much further still, and now the gap is not even close enough to challenge for Brown as he falls back by about 10 car lengths.
Yep, your top 5 right now, it is Aiden Purdue, followed by Caden Brown, Connor Leffler, Cannon McIntosh from 17th, and Tanner Carrick rounds out the top 5. Behind those guys, a good battle between Dayson Persley, no, actually Logan Seavey. Seavey working back to the outside. He's the only guy inside the top 5 working the top. There goes Logan to the outside of Tanner Carrick. He takes over the 5th spot off turn number 4.
And it was Dayson Persley down there on the bottom that he was battling, and Seavey committed to the top side. He's making it work. Everybody else obviously up front is more around the bottom, but there is something up there, it appears. So if any of these guys were able to close in on the car in front of him, they would be able to move up. And in fact, a lot of the guys from outside the top 5 have moved up to the top, but the bottom still appears for now that that's the place to be.
Taking a look at the lap times last time by Dylan, Caden Brown was 2/10 faster than your race leader, Aiden Purdue. And then behind those guys, Cannon McIntosh was 2/10 better than Aiden Purdue as well. Purdue has not moved off that bottom side of the racetrack. Brown is on the top in 3 and 4, and he is coming after your race leader. That time by Brown was 3/10 better than Purdue. He's running the bottom in 1 and 2, top in 3 and 4. So we'll see if that top side comes in 1 and 2 as well. There goes Purdue up to the top side.
Yeah, that was maybe the move of the race right there, as Brown had moved up to the top side and was closing in. Now the race leader Purdue does as well. So the bottom is getting thin. You can see it, but he's done a nice job. Purdue has to hit his marks, run the bottom, and he gets hung in the slick there a little bit off turn number 2, but every lap after lap, he's really hit his marks on the bottom, and just maybe a little bit too thin here in 3 and 4 as he goes to the top side. But it's not much thicker up top. You got to be on your marks too, because cushion's put right up against the outside wall.
And there goes Purdue. I think he saw Caden Brown was catching up to him, and now they both go to the top side of the racetrack. Oh, Purdue might have tagged the wall right there with the right rear tire off turn number 2. No harm, no foul. He continues to lead this race. There's the first caution of the night. Yellow is out, and I'm looking through the field to see who was possibly the caution there. Maybe it was a competition caution. Man, your top 3 guys were 4 seconds ahead of Cannon McIntosh, but I think that caution is really going to play into the hands of guys like Cannon McIntosh and Logan Seavey, who might have gotten their feet under them after that first half of this race here.
Well, and we saw those guys that you just mentioned. They were really making some time up on the outside groove, up on the cushion, and now that everybody's bunched back up, be curious to see if they're able to be a little bit more aggressive up there and make any sort of move here on this restart. This restart is going to be important, because with just a handful of laps left here, about 10 or so once we go back racing under the green flag, you got to make your move quickly before everybody gets strung back out. So restart going to be important. You got to be on the mark. You got to be on the gas early. Try and pull a couple sliders here, maybe to advance your position before everybody gets strung back out single file.
And Dylan, look at this racetrack under yellow. It is so patchy out there. There's grip lanes right in the middle of the racetrack, but then they're not very wide. They're not very long grip lanes before a slick spot comes back out. And it's kind of from those guys that ran the bottom for a majority of that race have kind of thrown mud up into the middle of the racetrack. And I think that might come into play here, because that stuff is really got a lot of moisture and a lot of grip in it. And I might see these guys maybe run the middle of the racetrack here to try and make passes, because the top is just so treacherous to run. You can really make a mistake, hit the wall, jump the cushion, get the car sideways. So we might see some of these guys utilize that patchy stuff in the middle of the racetrack here.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think, just idling around here under yellow, looking at the bottom part of the racetrack, you can see how narrow it is, and it gets narrower the further into the corner you get. So that's obviously going to be a problem, trying to get power down on corner exit, which is going to play into the hands of the guys who are running the top. So I think if you're able to go up there and be precise enough to run the cushion, that's going to be the spot you want to be, because the bottom may just be too wore out, too narrow right now. But Yeah, I agree, Chase. I think there may be something in the middle. You're going to have to be smooth on the throttle, kind of rolling into it, because you don't want to spin the tires. We'll see what these guys do as Purdue here leads us back to green.
And McIntosh just got a fantastic restart, Dylan. He moves into third by Connor Leffler, and McIntosh is going to keep that 08 car down on the bottom side of the racetrack. 17th up to third for the driver out of Oklahoma. He's going to slide up the banking here in front of Leffler. Leffler threads the needle between McIntosh and the wall. Now he hits the wall, and McIntosh takes third.
And Cannon is coming to life here. This is the restart he needed. He is good on the top, putting that car right up there on the outside wall as he gets fed a slider there from Connor Leffler, who moves into that third spot. So as those two battle, it allows the top two to go away. The third place battle heats up again as they are throwing bombs at each other in 3 and 4.
McIntosh throws another one at him, and there goes Connor Leffler, points the car back to the bottom. He'll reclaim that third spot, slides up the banking. McIntosh through the middle, going to try and hit the bottom on exit. There goes Leffler into the wall, and that's going to give that third spot to McIntosh. But meanwhile, your top two guys are just so good on the top, so smooth, that pulled away from them. Can Caden Brown mount a charge? He's got to run down the front stretch. He looks to the inside, Dylan.
Battle for the lead. Brown trying to complete the slider. Purdue keeps his foot in the gas, tight on the cushion, bounces off the wall, keeps the lead, but here's Brown again, side by side for the lead. This time he should have him cleared. Slow slider up to the cushion, but another yellow going to thwart this battle for the lead.
And with how the cautions work here on iRacing.com, Caden Brown will be the leader here, because when the caution flag came out, he was in front of your former leader, Aiden Purdue. It's not when they last crossed the line or anything like that. It is at the time of the caution is who the leader is, and that was Caden Brown. He was mid-slider, so he will be gifted the race lead there, because more than likely, Dylan, Purdue was going to cross him up and probably retake the lead there down the front stretch, but a good timing there for that number, looks like the number 31 for Caden Brown.
And look at how much slicker and blacker the track has gotten, even since we went back racing on that restart before this. It is treacherous right now. It is glass slick all the way up to that outside cushion there, up against the outside wall. So these guys, again, they have got to be perfect lap after lap here battling for the lead. We saw Aiden Purdue get a little bit tight. He threw the nose over the cushion and then just couldn't get the car turned back down to the left to go straight. So one small mistake here from these guys is all it's going to take, and with just a handful of laps left here, it's going to come down to the wire here. It's money time right now for these guys if they want to get this win.
And how about the guy we haven't really talked about tonight? He is creeping into the picture. That's the baby-faced assassin, Christopher Bell. C. Bell, 15th, up to the 5th spot. He has been slowly and silently making his way to the front of the field here, Dylan. He might have something to say for a podium or maybe even a win tonight if these guys start racing hard up here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to be a matter of whether he's got enough laps, right? He's in a good spot right now, running in the 5th position, but as tricky as the track is, does he have enough racetrack left? Does he have enough race car left to move his way past all these guys as good as they've been ahead of him? So if anybody can do it, I think C-Bell's the guy, but it's going to be interesting here as we go back green. We're going to have 3 laps to go, and I think it's anybody's game right now.
It really is. Anybody in the top 5, I think, has got a shot to win this thing with 3 laps to go. Who will win the round number 2 of the USAC iRacing Challenge presented by NOS Energy Drink? We're about to find out. Green flags back in the air. Good start for Caden Brown up front. Aiden Purdue second. Connor Leffler third. As they head into turns 1 and 2, look at Christopher Bell. He tries to go 2 for 1. He'll get by McIntosh. Oh, no. Now he gets tagged from behind. Hangs onto it. Leffler's off the wall. And there goes Leffler through the infield. Bell the second. I can't even keep up with what's going on right now, Dylan.
There is a gaggle of cars. Bell gets collected. He gets turned around. They are bouncing off each other. Bell hops over the outside wall and does a couple cartwheels, and there's the yellow. So we're going to have a green-white checker. C. Bell threw a haymaker at him and almost had it completed, and just got a little bit crossed up. And then there was about 5 cars on top of him, and from then it was on. So tough break, but he gave it all he had.
He really did. He went for the 2 for the price of 1 wholesale down into the corner, and there wasn't really a whole lot of a gap between those cars there for him to slide into, and just cause some contact there. Let me listen to this. Ronnie Werdeman was 8th on that restart, and he now runs in the 3rd spot. So the Silver Crown driver, the 33 of Ronnie Werdeman, now P3 as we come back to the restart. And I just saw here in the simulation, Dylan, we've got a chance at 5 green-white checker finishes. Hopefully we don't use all those, but there is 5 attempts for these guys.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad that we've got 5 attempts here, but yeah, hopefully we don't need all those. But man, what a race this has been here, especially as the tracks continue to get slick and get wide here. It's been a lot of fun watching these guys that have started to come to life here in the late going start to challenge these top 2 and top 3 positions. So with 5 more shots at it, who knows what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, how about the history here at the Knoxville Raceway for the USAC Sprint Cars? Winners on 12 different occasions. Gary Bettenhauser back in 1968, Dick Tobias in 71, Sammy Sessions 72, Tom Bigelow in 73, Sheldon Kinzer back in 1982. Sammy Swindell won a USAC sanctioned race, but it was the wing on back in 1988. And then more recently, Bud Kading in 2010. Justin Grant's been a winner here. Tyler Courtney and Brady Bacon, as we mentioned earlier on, a 3-time winner here with the USAC National Sprint Cars. So, yeah, those guys that have won races here that are in this race tonight, Justin Grant and Tyler Courtney, not really having their best night here, but really, really exciting race, as you mentioned there, Dylan. And this is getting me excited for next week at Williams Grove, another big half-miler, which should put on some fantastic racing as well.
Yeah, these half-milers are a lot of fun, especially when you get the USAC cars out there, the non-wing cars. So a lot of fun to watch these guys go at it. And as good as Knoxville's been, as you mentioned, Williams Grove going to be a lot of fun. So it looks like Ray Kinnon's there in the virtual iRacing pace truck is getting ready to dart into the pit lane. And we're going to go back to green for our first green-white checker.
Yeah, first of possibly 5 green-white checkers. Here we go. Back to green. Caden Brown back on the throttle. Everyone trying to hit that thin slip of grip right there off of turn number 4 on the restart. Into turn number 1 they go. Werdeman drives it in deep. Nearly gets into the left rear tire. Now Werdeman's into the wall. He's going to keep his foot in it. Rides the cushion right on the wall right there. They'll come by this time for the white flag. Here comes Purdue with a move to the inside.
And Werdeman slipped up just a little bit. Logan Seavey has the bottom all to himself, and now another yellow. We're going to have to try this one again.
Caution, I was not expecting that at all, so our second green-white checker will have to be utilized here. The caution comes out for Tanner Carrick, and it looks like he got together with, Cannon McIntosh, who got hit by another driver. Also involved looks like Trey Robb, but I'm not going to lie, I don't know if I could say this, if I'm not allowed to say this or not, but I was really rooting for McIntosh there, Dylan, because he was from the 17th spot from the C main event up inside the top 5, but unfortunately gets involved with that accident and falls to the back of the field here.
Yeah, he's been the show, no doubt about that tonight. Just watching him run the alphabet soup and make his way forward, and was really, really strong here in the feature. Had a shot for sure. I'm keeping my eye on Logan Seavey, right? We talked about him at the beginning of this show about the last couple weeks he's had here in the sim racing world, and he had the bottom all to himself there on that restart. And while it may not be the preferred line, the top is awfully treacherous, and if any of those guys make some sort of mistake up front, it could collect the second and third place cars or even the first place runners. So Seavey may be in the best spot right now. If he's able to just commit to the bottom and hit the bottom, he may be able to sneak by a couple of these guys and then capitalize on their mistakes if they happen.
Well, and not only that, but, you know, third place is the last money playing spot for this race tonight. $100 if you finish in the third spot, nothing for fourth. So Logan Seavey definitely wants to get by at least one more car. If you just joined us, or you just joined us recently, $500 to win the race tonight, $300 for second, and $100 for third. Ronnie Werdeman currently in that third spot as we work under this this caution flag here, looking for our second green-white checker attempt out of 5. But Dylan, definitely want to go back and talk about the AME Electrical Fairbury Showdown coming up this Saturday night. $2,000 to win that main event. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of the same drivers you're seeing tonight, but there's also some other surprises that'll be on that entry list as well, which has been released. Head over to USACRacing.com and you can see who's on that entry list. So I'm really looking forward to that one, as we mentioned earlier, but just got to talk about it and let everybody know about it Saturday night on FlowRacing.com.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Back underway here for our second green-white checkered. Seavey running in that third spot rather. Bobbled on the start, made contact with Ronnie Werdeman, lost a couple spots. He'll lose another spot to Anton Hernandez here, who is feeling racy. Meanwhile, the battle up front, the top 2 make contact.
Yeah, Purdue trying to slider, wasn't clear, got into the front bumper of Caden Brown's. Brown's not going to be happy about that one. He'll drive it deep into the corner. Here comes Werdeman. They get 3 wide into turns 1 and 2. They work down the back straightaway. Brown's got to try something here. He's off the wall. There goes Werdeman to the inside for second. And here comes Purdue through 3 and 4.
And maybe all Purdue needed is Werdeman and Caden Brown to battle with each other. And indeed, Werdeman off the wall.
Contact for third. Werdeman and CV get together. The checkered flag is out, and your winner of tonight's feature, as Brown is not happy with him, it's Aiden Perdue in the 39 car after some contact. He takes the win over Caden Brown and Ronnie Werdeman, the three drivers that you'll see in points, or not points, but money-paying positions tonight. Logan CV ends up fourth, Chris Wyndham in fifth, with Dason Persley, Anton Hernandez, Trey Robb, Cannon McIntosh, and Chase Briscoe rounding out the top 10 drivers. Man, oh man, a lot of contact there in that last couple laps there, Dylan, but a fantastic race nonetheless with some drama to cap it off here.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more than that. Those guys were going at it there, coming to the checkered flag, and again, that's just a product of the racetrack we had. Nice and slick from literally top to bottom, so you got to just throw bombs at guys and hope that you have them clear before you get in front of them, and that's exactly what those top two were doing. And Caden Brown not happy, but that's sometimes the product of this racetrack. You just got to do that sometimes to get into the lead.
Well, we're going to fill some time here and see if we can get some of these top three finishers into our team speak here, into our broadcast booth, and get a quick interview with them. But Dylan, I mentioned it there before we went back green. I was on the replay. I wasn't live when we went back to green there. I was talking about that Fairbury Challenge, but $2,000 on the line. Andy Reinbold just looking for some kind of racing, and he puts on a midget race at Fairbury this Saturday night, which is going to be really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And what a world we live in, right? That you can race on iRacing for $2,000 to win. So if we thought we saw some bonsai sliders tonight, I can't wait to see, or can't wait to get to Saturday and see what we got there. So big money's going to be on the line. A lot of pride in this one, and really cool that Andy is stepping up and supporting this event. And excited to be able to watch it and be part of the announce team with you for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like we've got one of our top three finishers in here, and that's going to be Ronnie Werdeman. We'll pull him right now into the broadcast booth. Ronnie, third place run. You and Logan Seavey bouncing off each other, coming across the start-finish line. And Ronnie, you got us? I don't think Ronnie's got our communications going on here. Are you there, Ronnie?
Anybody got a copy?
We can hear you, Ronnie. If you can hear us, give us a sign here. Well, Ronnie Werdeman, not Mike working there. We'll give him a second to try and figure his stuff out. We've got somebody else looks like they've came in here. And who is this? Hello, who is this? Is this Caden Brown?
Caden Brown. Yep.
Caden Brown, man, a hell of a run there, man. Led a lot of laps. I don't know if anybody really thought of you as one of the guys to possibly run up front in this thing. Did you put a lot of practice laps in for this race?
I didn't put too many in, to be honest. I've kind of got like a natural connection to these non-wing cars. I ran them a tiny bit over the years when iRacing's come out, but yeah, I didn't do too much practice, so it's come as a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't make it out of the BMA last week at Kokomo, so to start off pole and then lead some laps today was pretty cool.
As slick as the racetrack was, those closing laps, how tough was it to complete the passes that you needed to make and do them cleanly too, with as thin as the cushion was and as slick as the rest of the racetrack was?
Yeah, exactly right. The track actually changed a lot during the feature. Obviously, it was Aiden passed me on the bottom early on, and then I sort of found the top late in the race, and I was able to chuck a slide job on him. And I think, yeah, the slide jobs are actually really hard to chuck because of how lack of grip the non-wing cars have on this game and how slick the track was. That was really difficult. But I think the slide job Aiden chucked was a bit of a dirty move. But congratulations to him, and yeah.
Yeah, I saw you kind of get into the back of Aiden after the checkered flag, but pretty cool to be able to race for some money during this downtime. $300 coming your way. That's nothing to shake a stick at, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly right. Obviously, me and Aiden had a good race. I was trying to chuck clean slide jobs on him. I know I fouled about 3 or 4 times, and I only pulled it up because I didn't want to wreck him, but I think that favour obviously didn't get returned. So yeah, good job to him. I'll try and square it up next week. But obviously I can't thank all you guys enough, all the USAC team and all the officials for putting this on for all the drivers while this coronavirus is taking over the world and stopping all the racing.
Well, Caden, we really thank you for coming in here and having a word with us. Nice job tonight. And will we see you on Saturday for the Fairbury race?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be there. I love midgets at Fairbury in this game. It's probably the most similar thing you can get to real life racing. So I'll be back in the CB Industries number 88 and ready to rip, and hopefully we're back up the front.
All right, well, there he is, Caden Brown picking up the second place spot tonight, $300. And it looks like our winner has joined us here, Dylan Welch, Aiden Purdue. Aiden, you were kind of the needle in the haystack, so to speak, tonight. You were one of the pro drivers with USAC on the iRacing simulation last year, but it don't matter, man. You were one of the guys, you were a guy that made your midget debut this year at DuQuoin with USAC. You do have real-life experience, a big-time micro-sprint driver, and you put it on these guys tonight. A last lap, last corner pass, maybe a little bit of drama developing there, but a good race nonetheless, man. That track looked really tough out there.
Yeah, man, I was just taking my time throughout the night, and just watching the track as it went on. And fortunate enough, we had a tacky track in our heat race, and we were just able to start second there and qualified good, and then we just took our time with it and fortunate to get the win. And then we went from there, started third and had a tough field ahead of me. And I knew my car was going to be better when it was tacky out there, and I knew that that's when I needed to make my best moves, and that's when I needed to go. And we got out to the lead there in the beginning, and it was good. We pulled away a little bit, and then we had those yellows, and that gave me a break, a little breather. And then those last, as the track started slicking off, it was a lot of throttle control on the bottom. It was really hard to try and not get in the gas as much and try and keep it under me. And then, we got to those last laps. I was in second there, and I knew I had to make a move either now or we weren't going to get it. And I did not mean to get into him there. It was racing deal. Both eager to get the win, and it happens. It's racing, but I'm very, very fortunate to have my my sim here and able to get in this race tonight.
Yeah, we talked about the racetrack, and we honestly just talked with Caden about it too, but with as tough and slick as the track was, how difficult was it to complete passes cleanly, just with it slick as it was, as thin as the cushion was? There was a lot of challenges with the racetrack, as you mentioned.
Yeah, one of my biggest challenges was, as a lot of people I'm sure are going to mention, was that bottom. I had to keep it down there, and I wasn't even halfway on the throttle. It was hard, and especially these higher horsepower cars, it's hard to not get wheel spin, and you just need to stay in the moisture and get down there. And I was trying to hug it as best I could, and then eventually the top became fast again, and that's where everyone needed to be. But I was almost tempted there towards the very end of the race, go back to the bottom and try something. But there was just that fine line up on the top too. It was hard to stay in the gas and not spin your tires and get all cattywampus down the backstretch. It was a lot of patience in the car, and it ended up paying off for us.
It absolutely did. $500 in your pocket after tonight's race. Looking forward, we're heading to Williams Grove with this series for round number 3 of the AMSOIL USAC iRacing Challenge presented by NOS Energy Drink. Williams Grove is one of my personal favorites with this car, one of my favorite combinations on the game. You see guys all the time there biking up, picking the left rear tire up on entry. I think next week we could possibly be in for a show that might even be better than what we saw tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Williams Grove's always been one of my – it's a tough track, but it's definitely fun. It adds a lot of excitement to it, and should be good. We ran the Pro Series there and had a lot of experience in that and learned a lot, and we'll see if we can apply that. But I can't thank everybody getting me here. Clausen Marshall Racing for the awesome ride, and can't thank Driven to Save Lives, ZMAX Race Products, USAC Racing, Flow Racing, and Knoxville for giving us this great place to race, and everyone's watching the broadcast. It was great to try and put on a show for the fans during this COVID-19, and had a blast. I was very happy to be in the number 39 BC tonight, and we got the win, and very happy. And I can't thank my mom, my dad, Daniel Robinson, everybody at the McCurry Motorsports, everybody watching again, trying to put on a show for the fans here tonight, and I think we did that. And can't thank everybody for helping me and practicing throughout the week, and it was great.
Well, Aiden, congrats on the win, man. We'll see you next week at Williams Grove.
Thank you.
And in our third place position tonight, picking up $100, final interview of the night, Ronnie Werdeman, man. Great battle coming down to the line with Logan Seavey, and you come out on top. Pretty cool to beat the guy that's been really the talk of iRacing, the talk of social media lately here about this simulation, Ronnie. $100 for you. You got to be feeling really good about it.
Yeah, sure am. That's one of the tricks, though, is not to really worry too much about who you're racing against, and just go for the holes when there are holes and run the fast line where you know the fast line is and just hope for the best. And thankfully tonight it worked out.
Well, I've seen a lot of guys talking about being more nervous during these races than they are in actual races. That last restart there when there was kind of guys all over you and all around you, what was going through your head kind of in that hornet's nest as you were trying to at least hang on to third but move forward too?
Well, I thought the first and second might wreck there, so I was trying to get my car positioned in a way where if they did get balled up, that I could avoid them. But it's nerve-wracking those last couple laps. I really wanted to finish in the money. I'm unemployed right now, so $100 is $100. And I'm just really happy you guys put this on. Thank you, USAC, Spridge, and Levi, Randolph for doing this. It's just awesome that we still get to race this year. I built a car last year, brand new, only get to race it twice. So it's awesome getting to race against these guys.
Hey, Ronnie, I'm a big proponent of iRacing.com. I'm on here, just about every day, especially during the time that our world is in right now. And, I see you all the time hosting races with this race car, this non-wing sprint car. Do you think that played into your hands tonight? I feel like you have to have ran the most laps in these cars out of anybody in this field tonight, maybe besides Aiden Purdue. But I always see you hosting races with this car, and that's probably going to help you get a lot more comfortable in these things because they are an absolute handful.
Well, yeah, I race with the GFR guys a lot and Elbows Up Sim Sport guys a lot. And being in the hosted races with them, anything can happen. Sort of keeps you on your toes. Sort of gives you that sixth sense where the cars are, where they're going to wreck. I gotta admit, I don't do iRacing. It's semi-pro or whatever you want to call it. I don't chase iRating. I don't chase the USAC iRacing Championship. I do it purely for fun and to keep me good for when I get the opportunity to run my own Silver Crown car. But yeah, it definitely helps.
Well, Ronnie, I'm seeing your car here. It's all red with just a number on it. Is there anybody you got to thank for the run tonight?
I got to thank USAC for putting it on. PPG gives me my paint, so that's why they're on the car. And then Billy Rowley for being my spotter tonight helped out a ton. He's my spotter in real life. He talked me into what the fast line is, where the other guys were running. Just like in real life, man, it translates right over. So thanks so much for having me.
Well, there's Ronnie Werdeman, P3 tonight in round number 2 of the USAC iRacing Challenge here at Knoxville Raceway. Dylan, I think that's all we've got for tonight. Any final thoughts before we head off to Fairbury this Saturday?
Man, it's been 2 really, really fun weeks of racing here. 2 great shows, and I think what we're seeing is the USAC guys getting better and better, more acclimated and used to racing on this sim, and I think that only promises better things to come the next couple weeks, and obviously on Saturday at Fairbury.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us here from Knoxville Raceway. Once again, I'm Chase Rodman. That was Dylan Welch, you just heard there. We'll see you this Saturday night for the Fairbury Challenge presented by AME Electrical. $2,000 to win. All your favorite USAC drivers in a midget at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. And the AMSOIL USAC iRacing Challenge presented by NOS Energy Drink will be back next Thursday night from the Williams Grove Speedway with the USAC 410 Sprint Car. Until Saturday, we'll see you then, and we hope you guys stay safe out there and have some fun here on iRacing.com.